Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Tonight we're checking out a 2022 Volkswagen GTI, Golf GTI in the Autobahn trim level at night. So this video focuses on the interior and exterior lighting of the vehicle. Check my channel for the full overview. It's a separate video. First, I want to point out that if you want the vehicle running and the exterior lights off, you can select that on the light switch. So some vehicles, there's always some kind of exterior light on even when you turn it all off. So this one can completely go dark, which is nice. When you unlock the door, it does have these approach lights that turn on. The exterior lights in the front and the rear will turn on, but also you have this light that shines on the ground, and also these lights that are here on the handles that illuminate, and also the interior lights are now turned on. Now I have the parking lights on, and when I turn on the parking lights, these very bright LED strips, you can see they're just blowing out the camera here. You could potentially mistake these as headlights because they are rather bright. You can see the camera. Let me turn the brightness down a little bit so you can see how sharp they are, because it is a really impressive light system here. And that upper portion is very bright compared to the lower portion, but you can see it's a nice accent and looks really neat. Also, when you turn on the parking lights, these amber side markers also turn on here. Here in the back, the tail lights kind of wrap around to the side of the vehicle, serving as a side marker. And you notice all this is LED, front and back. And the camera kind of makes it look a little orangey, but they are a nice deep red in color, the tail lights. Tag lights are also LED. And the tag lights illuminate the ground a little bit, which is nice, just below the, right there next to the vehicle. So it kind of serves as an approach light. So let me turn the brightness down a little bit again, so you can hopefully see the clarity and the sharpness of these tail lights, and also the fact that they're actually red and not orange. Still looks a little orange on the camera, but trust me, they're a nice deep red. Now I have the turn signal on, and you can see it just kind of replaces, it turns off all those accent lights on the side that you have the turn signal on, and it replaces that upper portion white strip with a flashing amber, very bright, crisp, sharp turn signal. And it goes all the way across the front, right above, kind of like right over top of the headlight system. So it's really big, long strip there. Very impressive. You're not going to miss that. There's also an LED turn signal indicator here on the side mirror. You can see it from the front, the side, and the back. And the turn signal indicator here in the back, in the tail light, is an amber. It's an LED amber flashing light. So once again, it's hard to tell the color here, so let me turn the brightness down a little bit more, and hopefully you can tell the little bit difference there in color. There we go, that's a little bit better. So yeah, so you can see the top part is red and the lower part is amber. So it's kind of hard for some reason the camera to pick it up without adjusting the settings and all that stuff. Okay, so we're almost to the headlights. This is the fog lights here at the bottom. So you can see those bright lights that were on the top are now much dimmer, and the fog lights are now illuminated. And it's actually 5 reflector LED fog lights on each side. So it has a, just a visual purpose as well as a functional purpose. Kind of gives it an additional accent, I guess you could say, to the vehicle. So last but not least, we actually have the headlights on now. This is the low beams, but you may notice when you turn on the headlights, there's an additional LED accent light here in the center that illuminates. There in the center of the vehicle. Of course, it skips over the badge, but there's that additional LED strip there. And for some reason, it doesn't turn on until you have the headlights on. So it doesn't turn on with the parking lights, fog lights, or anything like that. You have to have the headlights on. Headlights are 2 projector headlights on each side, and both of them are illuminated for your low and your high beams. There's also a cornering light right in here that'll turn on when you turn the steering wheel. On the appropriate side, it'll turn on the cornering light. When you put it in reverse, both cornering lights will turn on, so give you additional light around the vehicle as you're backing up. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like going down the road, but there's the low beams and there's the high beams. And these are also auto leveling headlights. They're not active bending left and right. Since it has those cornering lights, it doesn't have to do that, but they are auto leveling. So it attempts to not blind other people while you're driving. So it already has kind of like a cutoff here. And then of course, when you put the high beams on, that cutoff is no longer there. It refocuses the same headlight beams. So you have both lights are still on and it looks basically the same, except for now they are in a higher, more refocused position. So and also the fog lights also turn off. So when you turn on the headlights, the high beams, the fog lights will turn off and you have a higher refocused position for both those headlights. Looking at the interior lights here, in the cargo area, there is a single light, an LED light, which is fairly bright here on the right side, and it kind of casts some light in here. But you notice if there's anything in the trunk, so like I have stuff in the trunk right now, and it blocks the light. So things over here are now dark because there's only one light source. There's instant shadows depending on how much stuff you have in here and also what the position of it. So if you have a tall item there on the right side, like I do, and it's not that tall, it could be blocking it. It casts a huge shadow here on the left side. So definitely the interior light here on the in the cargo area could be a lot better. The inside of the back door, it has an accent light right here. You can see it right there. And that's in the settings under ambient light. You can change the colors. You can get red, yellow. I have it like a aqua type green right there. And you can also change the brightness. Right now I have it at the highest brightness. There's also another light that illuminates this little pocket right here. There's also a light for the window switch there. Here's the back seat, and the back seat is illuminated by these 2 dome lights, LED. They do fairly well of illuminating this area. There's also a very subtle light under the seat. I don't know if you can see it under there. Very subtle, but when it's very dark, subtle lights like that really help out. There's also charge ports back here, USB-C plus climate control buttons here that are all backlit illuminated. The inside of the front door, same thing with the accent here at the top. And then there's another light here at the bottom as well, just like the back door. You can see that accent light that shines on the ground. It's kind of like a puddle light, but it's not super functional. It's mostly just for looks. And it shines here underneath the side mirror, and it kind of illuminates here on the ground. So, I mean, it kind of helps a little bit out as far as seeing what's on the ground, but it's not super functional. It's more for looks. Okay, so here is the lights coming from these 2 dome lights. And of course, there's those lights in the back that kind of spill over a little bit here in the front as well, but they're bright enough to kind of illuminate this area quite well. Let me just show you what this window switch is all about, because it's different. And I actually show this in the full overview, but it's worth showing here. It has a touch screen, and as you move your finger close to it, it makes the lights brighter. You can see as I put my finger close to it, they kind of brighten up. And right here is the fog lights, so we can turn those on or off. When you hit mode, up here, like these things don't do anything. You have to hit this mode. And when you do that, it cycles through the different headlights here. So turning it all off is right there. Now it's all on except for the fog lights, which you can turn on separately. And then you hit it again, turns off the automatic headlights, and so you're kind of forcing them to be on. Hit it again, it turns off the headlights. Now we have just the parking lights. And hit it again, it turns everything off. So it's pretty neat how it's just a touchscreen type deal, and it's not an actual switch that most people are familiar with. So you may not really fully understand it at first, what it's all about, but there's a kind of a quick rundown of how you use this. It's not hard, it's just you gotta know that it's a little bit different. Okay, so I have the door open. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it. Interior lights will turn off, and we're looking at the back lights, which this one's halfway decent. I've been fairly disappointed with a lot of vehicles here lately, but this one's pretty good. So you can see it has the backlit buttons here on the steering wheel, which do a good job. And these are all touch buttons, and you know, they work a little bit different than normal buttons on a steering wheel. And I go over that in the regular full overview. And there's the screen, which is customizable. That's just one of the many screens that are here. And there's the touch screen. You notice it's that same color that I have selected for the ambient color. You see there's the accent lighting, and then the functional light there at the bottom. Turn the brightness up a little bit so you can see. One of the things I want to point out, which is kind of subtle, you might not notice at first, but there is some floorboard illumination here in the front as well as the back, which is nice. That just a little bit of light in the floorboard really helps out. Really like that. Doesn't take much, but same thing on the passenger side. It's hard to tell because there's nothing there but black carpet. And while we're looking at the ambient light, let's go ahead and change the colors. It's real easy. You just push this button here, and you can have this orange. You can have that orange color, and you'll notice it changes some of the things there on the dash, on the screen there. So over here, here, here. It's looking pretty good. All right, so let's go over here and change to blue. And actually, that color, blue, you can see that pocket there on the door, now is changing to match the ambient color. So I guess with this green one, it doesn't really match 100%. But with this blue, it matches the pocket there. Let's check the red. Yeah, it kind of like blends a little bit better. I mean, it's not an exact match on some of these colors, but it does change a little bit there. So, something I just realized. You see that the colors, like it's yellow up there and this one's different. So depending on, you know, what setting you have, it may match, it may not. That's what it seems like. And remember, we do have them in the back doors as well. Looking pretty neat. So there's the yellow. You also have the ability to set up a custom color, automatic, so depending on what you're doing, it can change that. Or you can just turn them off if you want. If you don't want any of the ambient lights, you don't have to have them. And some people don't like them, so that's nice. So we'll kind of go through what it looks like there on the gauges. So there's the mood lighting. So there's the different colors. Here's the brightness. Right here is the custom. And that's where you can adjust the color. Color 1 and color 2. So let's go color 2. We'll go to blue. And color 1 will change to red. So we can find out what color 1 and color 2 is. So it looks like color 1 is the upper light. Turn the brightness back up. and color 2 is the door pocket. But also right in here is now blue. So you can see red and blue. So you have color 1 and color 2. So we can adjust it with that custom setting there. That's looking pretty cool. So we can change to green. Let's change this one to like a purplish color, and the top one to a greenish color. Let's see what that looks like. That's looking pretty good. So yeah. Okay, so that's the under the custom is where you can adjust the lower pockets and stuff. So that's pretty neat. We'll leave it at that so we can see the difference there, the green and the purple. All right. So now we have the purple down here. Now we know which is which. And it does have the illumination in this little pocket right here, which is nice. Let me turn the brightness back up. All right, so that's looking good. There's some light here in the cup holder area. Just a little bit on one side. And the shifter's dark. It's a manual transmission. There's backlit buttons here for the electronic parking brake. The center console is dark, unfortunately. So let me turn on the interior lights so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm starting to go into these dark zone. You can see right there, it's just a dark pocket. There's no light in the center console, which would be nice if it had one. Also, there's a 12-volt power supply here, which is not illuminated, so it's hard to know where it is. Turn off the interior lights. Now you can see there is a light in the glove compartment, which is shocking. A lot of vehicles are skipping out on that, I guess, because they can get away with it. People don't call them out on it. But yeah, I think the interior lights, other than that center console, is pretty good. Now up here, there's some lights. These are, you'll notice I didn't even touch that light. All it takes is just like, you just get close to it and it turns on. So it's like a touch sensitive interior light. And same thing with these interior lights here. That's to turn on all the interior lights. And they're real easy to find because they're backlit, unlike some vehicles where the interior light button is not even backlit. You can turn off, when you open up the door, the interior lights will turn on, but you can turn that feature off here. And then each individual light, you can just hit it again to go off. So it's on or off just by tapping it. But if you press and hold it and release it, before it gets fully bright, it can have a dimmer light there. So you can press and hold it, and when it, like half brightness, you can let go and it will have slightly less bright. So you can see that one's much brighter than this one. So you're just tapping it, it gives you the full brightness. So I thought that was pretty neat. The visors have these lights that turn on when you open up the little mirror there. The heads-up display is not super bright, which is good because it doesn't really distract you when you're driving. It does give you the ability to see that information on the heads-up display, but of course you can adjust the brightness and all that stuff. But it does a good job. It's not blurry, and you can actually see it, and it gives you necessary information. So the heads-up display is pretty good. So far, the automatic high beams have been working okay. Haven't really been blinding or flashing anybody unnecessarily. And the headlights are really good. I really enjoyed the headlights in this vehicle. see the active, the auto leveling system's working really good, because as I'm going up the hill, it kind of keeps the headlights from, poking up in the air a little bit. And you can see that cutoff is a little bit lower on the oncoming lane, which is good, so you don't want to blind anybody from that. The auto leveling system, I mean, it's not going to like keep it perfectly level. You're going to go over bumps and stuff, but as you're going up and down hills, it kind of keeps those low beams from blinding people. And even with the low beams on, you still have fantastic headlights. Okay, so automatic high beams are now turning on and off. See if we can get in a darker area so you can see what the headlights are about. Okay, dark area, automatic high beams turned on, and there we go. Really good. I mean, you got good visibility there on the sides. The lights relatively evenly distributed with those quad projector headlight systems. But look at that. I mean, you can see down the road excellent. You can see the trees in the distance, and it just looks really good. I mean, for a vehicle this size, these are one of the best headlights, I think. I mean, it looks great.